Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take complex ideas, find the surprising insights, and bring them straight to you. Today, we're tackling a really profound quote. We of the world, we are only a thought. The mind of the Almighty and the greatest one can be is to become a member. So our mission is to unpack these two big claims. What's it mean to be a thought? And why is becoming a member supposedly the greatest thing? We think there are some mind-bending connections here about existence and, well, purpose.
Absolutely. And by the end, you'll see how grappling with this quote, it can really shift how you view your own significance. It points to a deeper meaning in just being and also in the impact you can leave behind.
Okay, let's start with that first bit. We are only a thought in the mind of the Almighty. That feels, well, a little passive, doesn't it? Like we're just characters in a dream.
It does sound that way initially, yeah. But it's deeply rooted in philosophical idealism. You know, George Berkeley's famous line, "To be is to be perceived."
Right, I've heard that.
So, for idealists like him, the physical world isn't fundamentally separate stuff like matter. It exists as ideas within a consciousness. In the context of our, quote, the Almighty, is that ultimate, ever-present perceiver. This mind holds everything together, us, the world, everything, as a coherent stream of ideas, basically.
So it's not just some dusty old philosophical concept that doesn't have legs today.
Oh, definitely. It's not just ancient history. You
Yeah.
find echoes of it in modern idealist thought, even some interpretations in physics. The core idea is that consciousness isn't just something our brains do. Some thinkers see it as fundamental to reality itself, like the universe as maybe a divine mathematical structure, and our own awareness as a kind of active interface with that bigger universal mind.
An interface.
Yeah.
Interesting. But okay, if we're thoughts, does that rob us of free will, or are we just puppets?
Ah, good question. But no, not necessarily. That's where other important traditions come in, like the
Yeah.
concept of imago Dei, humanity being made in God's image. If we are thoughts, the idea is we're purposeful thoughts, imbued with qualities like reason, will, the capacity for moral choice. We reflect the divine in a way, so we're not passive. Think of it less like puppets and more like active participants, co-creators even. Our choices matter. They're genuine expressions within this divine framework.
Right, that makes more sense. Okay, let's shift to the second part. The greatest one can be is to become a member. What exactly is a member?
Memor, essentially, is about achieving a kind of symbolic immortality. It's the lasting impression, the legacy you leave after you're physically gone. And it's broad, it could be biological through your children, creative through art, ideas, work, social, the impact you have on your community, or even spiritual beliefs about continuing consciousness. It taps into what seems like a fundamental human drive, right? This desire to leave a mark, to have your life count for something beyond just your lifespan. It gives meaning, pushes back against that existential unease.
But what kind of greatness are we talking about? Does just any old member qualify? I mean, you could argue someone like Hitler definitely became a member, but surely that's not the goal.
Exactly. That's the critical distinction. And where philosophies really differ, you have Aristotle, for instance, talking about megalopsychia or greatness of soul. For him, a worthy member was tied directly to virtue, ethical living. Being remembered well was sort of a byproduct of a good life.
Okay.
Then you contrast that with someone like Nietzsche and his idea of the will to power. That focuses more on overcoming obstacles, asserting influence, that kind of power over dynamic. And while that can lead to a powerful legacy, as you said, it can also justify actions that are, well, morally abhorrent if ethics aren't central. Impact alone isn't necessarily good impact. And what's really interesting now is how other perspectives, like feminist philosophy, offer another way to think about it. And they talk about power too. Yeah, power to empower others to create positive change, guided by an ethic of care. This suggests a great member isn't just individual achievement, but something collaborative, something socially responsible, rooted in positive contribution. And one last thing on it, this member isn't set in stone. Collective memory shifts, interpretations change, so how you're remembered can be dynamic.
So bringing this all together, what's the final takeaway for you listening to this?
Well, I think the quote is doing two powerful things. First, it's saying there's inherent meaning just in your existence as this unique thought originating from a divine source. You matter, fundamentally. And second, our highest potential becoming a member isn't just about being remembered, it's about how we actively live out that divine connection. It's about manifesting it through actions that are hopefully positive and ethical.
Right. Which leaves a pretty big question for you to ponder. How is your unique thought going to show up in the world? And what kind of memoir will you consciously choose to build? One that's not just lasting, but, worthy of lasting, maybe even a positive guide for those who come after, something to think about.